So yeah, momentarily I'll start building. Hey, how's it going? Bliss9? How you doing? just a minute, I'll start actually building. Well, tearing apart first, I guess, right? So today I'm going to strip apart a TX84 that I have, pull some Woolly Pandas out of it, lubed ones, for a couple of reasons. One, because it's not a fixed plate, so all of the, not all of, but, well, it's pretty bad actually. The switches are slightly off center. Nice to have a day off. Yeah, so some of the switches are off center. So I'm gonna put switches in there that have 5-pin or PCB legs to try and fix that. I mean, it will fix that, right? It'll center it all up. But also because I want to take some measurements off of the plate itself so that I can take its layout or take its external dimensions and overlay that onto an Alps plate that I have, or plate file that I have, so that I can make an Alps plate for the TX84. Because when I contacted Kin, he wasn't willing to give me a plate file, which, such is life, right? But that's okay. I can make one. I'm fairly certain. And I guess Heine was looking for measurements for big ass enter, like the stabilizer positions, or the stabilizer insert positions. So I guess at some point I'll capture those. I don't know if I'll do that part on stream, but yeah, that's how it usually goes. You're right. What are you gonna do though, right? I don't know. I feel like if a creator releases their plate file and we get a good copy of that, there's really no reason to ever touch it for the most part. But if they don't, and you gotta reverse engineer that thing, then that thing that I create to reverse engineer that to make a plate for me, that's gonna be an open game. Like, I'll release the file, you know what I mean? To the community so that they can build stuff too, or laser cut it or whatever. But I guess I kind of understand, right? And in the case of the TX84, the cutout for it is larger and I don't want to say less unique than a lot of boards, but it's just like a rectangle with rounded corners. So it's really a simple thing. So I'm not going to have to take a ton of measurements off of it. I mean, I'm basically going to measure like one of the more fixed keycaps on the side, and then the bottom and the other sides, just to make sure that I have like the external dimensions of that thing. And when I create a file, I'll probably notch out those rounded corners because I don't want to bother with their radius or whatever, and they don't really do a lot structurally. Yeah, you like Signal? Yeah, so it's funny because I bought this set actually with this board from the person that I bought it from. And I was like, I don't really want that. They bundled it. And I was like, I don't really think I want that set. And it turns out that it's beautiful. I really like it. Like, I'm actually pretty happy. He was like, nah, I'm just gonna sell it bundled or not at all. Like, in the end, I'm liking it. Anyway, it's like 3 minutes after. So I'm gonna pull out the TX84. You guys have seen it. I'll show it on this camera, and then I'll move over to the soldering station and get kind of to work over there. I think that's probably the right move. If people start showing up after there, it's not gonna hurt for me to already have it out and be in that mode. All right, so you guys have seen this like a ton of times. Actually, I have some other stuff on my, right before I start that, I will actually say one, yeah, the colors do match absolutely perfectly. Kind of why I dig it. Anyway, so I did get some other cool stuff this week. It's nothing crazy. you guys wouldn't probably already expect. I'll go over that real quick first, right? So I got some LEDs for one to put into a few different boards and to support some customer builds that I got coming up where they want in-switch LEDs. I got another 5140. I love brown Alps. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I am gonna grab Hamon. Like, there's only 2 days left, or a day and change, and I've been like throwing it back and forth, like, do I do it? Do I not? Like, it's not my favorite colorway, and I have a feeling that it's gonna be like this set, where like I didn't want it really that much, but then there's gonna be something that it matches perfectly, and I'm gonna love it. Brown Alps are too much for you. Oh yeah, Bass. Placed on the integrated plate of the UEK. Yeah, I could see that. The UEK plate doesn't like flex at all, right? The salamander or whatever with this super flexible. I didn't think I'd love it when I first built it, but with those brown Alps on there, it's kind of nice. It flexes. It might be a little too flexy. I really want to try like an FR4 plate in it and see if that's a little bit better. Yeah, so I bought another one. I actually found somebody who was selling a whole board, and I was like, and this isn't on Mech Market, right? It was just somebody out there in the world, and I was like, hey, what's up, Nathan? Yeah, so I was like, I might as well see if I can convince the guy to just sell me the keyboard off the 5140 and not pay like $60 shipping, and he did. So this is like literally this 5140 keyboard is like half of what I've paid for every other 5140 keyboard that I've gotten, or any brown Alps for that matter. So I was like, win. Redesigned a board to use top mount. Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, that integrated plate is really stiff, so I'm oops, fell over. Yeah, so howdy. Vomendoran? That sounds more right. Yeah, so I feel you on it. I've kind of moved from really liking really stiff plates to enjoying a little bit of flex. I don't know, I still like stiff though. I still like brass for the sound, if nothing else. Got a maxed out 5140. Oh, so you bought a 5140 to actually use the 5140? That's kind of cool, man. I actually like that. All right, so what we're gonna do today, right? Not to go too much more into detail on things that I ordered, is you guys have seen this before, this TX84, but if you look at it head on like this, it may not be super obvious actually from this viewing angle. Yeah, I thought everybody got the 5140 for the switches, which is why on like eBay and stuff I never understand why everybody's just selling it. Why not just rip the keyboard out? Makes it better from a price perspective. Yeah, so the 5140s that I've bought, all of them weren't functional, including the one that keyboard came off of, or at least the guy said it wasn't. So I was like, then just give me the keyboard. Anyway, so you may not be able to tell from this angle, but you will when we go to the overhead solder station, that these caps are not aligned correctly. And that's because this is not a fixed plate, right? So it's not a fixed plate, and they're holy Jesus. So they don't have aligning pins, the PCB mount pins. So if it's like just tab and caps and here that you have to like align, I don't really mind it too much, because you're just talking about, well, and then obviously these other mods. It's not that big of a deal, right? But if I have to align literally every switch on a keyboard, that isn't reasonable to me. So in my opinion, when you have non-fixed plates, like, I should really just limit it always to things that have the 5-pin, switches that have the 5-pin. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these, and I'm gonna put on some Zealios. But in the process, once I get the plate raw, I'm gonna take some measurements off of it, like I said, so I can overlay the external dimensions and align properly to switch locations so that I can make an Alps plate file. I'm not gonna make the Alps plate file on stream, but that's the goal. And then I'll make it available once I do, in fact, get those measurements, just so that people can do the same thing. Because Kin's not willing to give up the plate file, which is his prerogative, but sorry man, I like Alps. I want to make Alps plates. Anyway, I'll move us over to the solder station, right? So we can get started. Because, well, that's what we're here for. Oof, lots more chat. I'm gonna catch up on this real quick. I understand you buying the functional ones, I really do, and then stripping them for their switches. Kind of sucks because they are beautiful, beautiful. Found it in a house being demolished. Dang. That's awesome. Oh yeah, they are. I know. I don't know. I just kind of threw them on there one day when I was putting them on there, and I never swapped Alt and Alt GR, and then I just left it. It's not that big of a deal to me. They both. But when I put them back on today, I'll put them back in the right orientation. How about that? Yep, Zealios. Bliss9, they're fantastic, man. I like V1 Zealios. In fact, this IKBC that's under here has V1 Zealios, or Xylants actually. I like them. They're nice. They were nice then. They're better now. They're just great. Kind of shilling, but have I heard of the B&B 87? It sounds really familiar, but now I need to look it up. Why? I swear when I see this, I'm gonna know. Maybe. Oh, I know I've heard of it, but now I'm not sure that I've actually seen this before. How have I not seen this? This is from December. I missed a board from December and haven't heard about it yet since then. Oof, dude, is that acrylic or polycarb, that clear one? That's amazing. It's a great render. Yeah, the vintage computing crowd must truly hate us. Alright. It's fully polycarb, okay. Win keyless only. I prefer that anyway. MX and Alps. You rock. Always add the Alps. Yeah, it is a beautiful render. It really is. Alright, now I really am gonna actually get started and move this over. Let's get going. Alright, maybe now you guys can tell how misaligned they are. Like, look at that U compared to the Y and the I, and then the K, how close it is compared to the J distance to this N. It's pretty noticeable from here. Yeah, so that's actually why. Let me mute that for a sec while I move that over. Good call. Good call. Yeah, Yeah, exactly. And so I can't unsee this like literally all the time. I built this thing. I love these holy Jesus switches. They're amazing, lubed, but there's nothing more annoying than this to me. Like, my attention to the detail of this absolutely hates this thing. I did it to feel these awesome switches, and I have to fix it. It's been driving me crazy. I have like a week gap between that last customer build and the next one, and I was like, and then I'm gonna be on vacation for a week, so I'm not gonna have it. And I was like, I have time to just handle this. I need to handle it. So without further ado, we'll get these caps off of here and start actually pulling the switches out, and then I can take those measurements real quick, and you'll kind of see where I'm going with the measurements, right? And I'll explain it a little bit when we get more into it, why I'm taking them where I'm taking them. You know, the funny thing is I have nicer switch keycap pullers than this cheap junky one, but it seems to always be the one I go to. I don't know if you guys have that kind of a thing. Yeah, sorry, I moved the mic back out of the way. Hopefully it sounds good, and feel free to let me know if it doesn't. This is like a really cheap keycap set too. It's one of the, it's like one of the WinMix Retro or whatever sets that came out on Mass Drop, and they reran it recently. I almost bought another set just to have them, but it was like, why do I really want to spend money on a set that I already have? So anyway, I was almost never going to use this set, but I kept, yeah, it's the WinMix. Yeah, it is. Thanks. Yeah, so actually, my wife was like, she's not into keyboards at all. She thinks I'm ridiculous. I'm sure some of you can relate. Or some of your significant others can relate at least. So anyway, I showed her it with a bunch of sets or sets next to it, and she just out of the blue was like, I think, blames beer, yeah, I think, she said, I think teal is what would make this better. And I was like, hey, I have some cheap set that has like teal mods, right? And or accents, and I went and I grabbed it, and she was like, see, now that looks good. So it stuck. And now this MAO whiteboard is probably always going to have, man, I'm going all sorts of slow. Ridiculous with this. So I think now this, at least this board, is pretty much destined to have this unless I find something that I just think fits it better. I almost bought a TX pad. I don't know if Kin's pre-order listing was still, that was on there. Anyway, I was gonna buy one. I don't know why I didn't. Probably just because it's like, do I want to buy just this, or, you know, buy more boards? Only uses stock Apple boards. Oof. Like old stock Apple boards, like an MO115, or, because I could actually see myself using that as a daily driver forever if that's what I had. Or even if, I mean, I have one, but with Alps oranges, ooh, dude, magic keyboard. You need to get him using good keyboards, man. Is he the kind of person who would get into something like that? I mean, like, most of the people I know wouldn't get that into it, but, like, I don't know. That's a terrible... Well, get him a Model F, man. He said your Model F was fake? What? Why would he say that? totally... Model Fs aren't that crazy rare. Crap, man. Model Ms are basically made. I mean, right, the Unicomp boards. I don't know if you liked it. That's so this this plate is not in perfect condition. I mean, it's not like terrible, but if I recall correctly, it had some scratches and stuff. I mean, they weren't terrible, and plates get scratched when people put in switches all messed up, but I got it that way, just FYI. Yeah, there aren't very many people that that I'm friends with or close with that I was like, no, you have to have a mechanical keyboard. This is ridiculous. You would like these. Mostly because most people look at me and they're just like, dude, this is a ridiculous hobby. Why would you do this, right? And I've had other... Sanded off the logo. Who does that? Yeah, so... Anyway, I've had plenty of other ridiculous hobbies over the years. But they're a little less obscure, right? Like somebody or more people are into them than this. This is probably the most niche hobby that I've had. And even this is getting way more popular, right? I mean, gotten 2 people. Yeah, so I have a really close friend, and I gave him a glorious modular mechanical keyboard or whatever, just to like let him test all the switches. I hate those boards for a lot of reasons, but I understand what part of the market they serve, and they're not absolutely terrible. I should have just used a keycap puller. Didn't hurt it, but dang. 6 coworkers, man. You're the mechanical keyboard evangelist. That's a ton of people. Are they like really into mechs, like customs, or are they just passingly interested? Yeah, this plate took some abuse at some point. It's a ton of people, man. It really is. Still dipping. Okay. Well, I hope some of them get into like really nice customs. This is gross and dirty. I understand. I do understand. A lot of people can't afford it. Some of these boards are kind of outrageously expensive. Kind of outrageously. I mean, do you guys know what these cost stock? Like, I know kind of what they go for on... I should know exactly what they cost because I just looked at Kin's thing. I want to say either $435 or $465. That sounds right. Yeah, anyway. 3D printing, dactyls. I kind of want to try a dactyl sometime. I've never owned one. I've touched them, but never daily drove one for a week or something. What are you looking to vend? Oh, yeah, I've asked. What exactly? Really? I saw your design stuff over there, but what are you actually thinking about selling? Oh, you're doing design stuff with Clueboard? These seem pretty cool, actually. I have a Clueboard PCB. Oh, yeah. Build and desoldering is totally legit, man. I like it. I was actually surprised at like the first time I posted or whatever to do it like publicly as a service, not just for friends or for people. How many people responded and how quickly? Like, it was plenty of people. Plenty for me to be like, oh, don't post again for a while. So I'm thinking about posting again really, really soon. to take more, but I'm going to be on vacation for a week, and I have a customer board before then and a few customer boards after that, so I'm like hesitant to do it quite yet. Or at least when I do, I'll just be pretty selective right after. Test in his factory for another one of your designs. A 40% Alice. Oh, did you know what? Did you post something about that previously? I feel like why am I taking this out? This, by the way, this thing never needs to come out. I'm just being dumb. You never need to remove this weight, as far as I'm concerned. Okay. I was going to say, I saw another slightly smaller design. I need to get better about like recognizing people's names. Now that I participate a little bit more in chats, but I'm starting to remember everybody a lot better. But previously I was kind of just like a lurker in a lot of the forums and stuff. I still am in the forums, like in Geekhack. But as for participating in Discord chats and stuff like that, I'm a lot more on it in the community lately. And so it kind of is. I mean, I'm not like malicious or mean or anything. Like, I'm not secretly criticizing people behind the scenes. I'm just, I don't know. I don't have anything to add to it. Then why would I, why would I comment? But it's not that I don't have anything to add. It's just that a lot of people just have the same opinion, I don't need to add in. I've been a little more vocal lately. But I also, I don't want to cause drama, right? Where you have an opinion and it doesn't, other people feel differently or whatever. I've found lately, people take it personal if you have a different opinion sometimes. I mean, I've known that forever, that's part of the human condition, but... So why do some of these not come out as easy? Wish I knew. Yeah, I just, sometimes, you're just like, my opinion's a little different than that guy's. I don't want to, tread on him. Make him feel like I'm attacking him. Anyway, I try to be less of a lurker. Try to participate. That's how the community, not only just how it exists, but it's how it's how we're gonna have good standards and have good products and generally just have more cool keyboards. It's the way I feel about it. How many of these didn't I get? All right. So there we go. Oof, that PCB hurts you because it's a Liku, or because it's because it's a Liku. Sure. I don't love it, right? I have some H87 A's, right? Like some Heinebusch ones. Yeah, it isn't great, and I don't love it either. But the thing is I'm gonna solder this one back together. Actually, as much as I don't love this particular one, here's what I didn't do well. It's hard to tell on this because it's white. There's flux residue there. I should have cleaned this off, but it's my board, not a customer board, and I was like, I'm just throwing it together. I want to use it with these silly switches. Yeah, dude, I get it. It's not a fantastic board. And the thing is I'm not a PCB designer, so while I understand electronics fairly well, I I don't know. I don't really think too hard about how this thing sucks, but I do understand it electrically, like how it works, and I agree with you. It's pretty gross. It's not a great design. But it's prevalent, right? It's pervasive. They're everywhere. They're available, so people use them. Yeah, I think you're probably better than I am at it, honestly, like considerably. Because I usually don't even think about whether the design is great or bad normally, unless it's like obviously terrible. Which objectively, this is not a great board, right? Even I see that. Trying to remember what controller's on here. Not worth checking it out. Okay, so this will actually be a pretty quick build. 0 for 2, yeah. So this will actually be a pretty quick build because when I pull all these switches off, I'm not gonna do anything to the stabs. Like they're gonna go back on exactly the way they are. They're just gonna go back together with different switches, and I'm gonna clean it off. I'm gonna take some measurements, and then I'm gonna throw it back together. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like they're not super cheap to prototype, but they're a lot cheaper than like prototyping an actual board, right? I think Heine's looks pretty good to me. Objectively, it looks like a pretty decent board. I know that he was getting down on himself about the one like cutoff pad, like crossover. I don't remember exactly what was wrong with it, but one of the LED positions didn't work. And he was like super down about it, even though bridging it and making it work is totally doable. It's not even an issue. I remember him getting down on it, and I was like, dude, I was thinking to myself, I was like, dude, and I think I said something. I was like, don't even stress about it, man. That's like not a big deal. And, you know, fixed for the next version. But his board is awesome. Like, it truly is. And probably the next 87 or 84 key TKL that I build will use one of the Heine boards that I have. It just will. Unless it's Alps. And hopefully by then he's got the Alps version out, and then that'll be the thing I use, you know? I don't know. That's my... Is this empty? That might need to be... I need to take care of this before we get too crazy. Oof. Oof. Look at that. Look at that plug right there. Of course this needs to be emptied out. That's super messed up. That would not have worked for very long. Like 1 second. That's weird. It all like settled on the front side. I don't think I've ever seen that. It always like settles and... Yeah, that sucked. Alf wanted to use his own. Really? So what did he use? What Alf PCB? Like one just for the board, or? I'm curious now. Let me know. That's a 1.6. Yeah, it is. So interestingly enough, right? I guess not everybody uses it, but I pretty much, unless I'm doing PCB mount LEDs, desoldering of those, I just leave the 1.6 millimeter tip on there that I use for Alps. Like, it's just kind of what I do. All right, I think this is probably a little warm too because I was desoldering. It is a little warm. I was desoldering Rojas, something that was Rojas compliant. So let's desolder. Did the music stop? The music stopped. We need to fix that. Yeah, we'll get that back. Let me know if that's too loud, by the way, not the desolder, the music. You know what I should be doing, right, is... Too loud? Alright, I'll turn it down. Oh, man. Oh, trolled. I got trolled right there. Oh, I can't really fix the vacuum loudness. I mean, I guess I could move the microphone, but I think it's gonna be loud. Is it actually too loud? Seriously though? If it is, I'll try and figure something out. You own an FR301? Yeah, this is a 301. I love the 301. It's honestly, it's a freaking fantastic device. Top notch. Good job, Hacko. Which is funny, right? Because while I like Hacko stuff, I do not actually think that they're like the FX888 or whatever. Some of their more modern soldering irons are the best. Oof. Got that nice splatter right there. Oh, I'll get it off. Yeah, it's like the best, man. So dude, I want one of your boards, man. I love that polycarb. Oh, okay. Yeah, take it easy, man. So any of you guys, anyone else in here want a desoldering pump of any kind? Like an automatic one? Are you guys all manual users or just strictly builders, no rebuilding? Just cheapos? Yeah. I feel you on the keycaps, man. It's what always gets me, right? I have like way more keycaps than I do boards to put them on. And the 301 is really expensive for like that initial investment, and if you don't do it all the time, unless you want the tool that's gonna like pretty much last a lifetime, it's probably not the right tool for any given desoldering load that you have. Unless you're doing something with it repeatedly. If you are, though, it's the right tool for the job. So if your funds are all going toward keycaps, then what are you in on right now? What are you waiting on? Or what are you planning on going in on? I'm curious, right? I mean, trying to think about what I'm in on right now, waiting on. I think the thing I'm looking most forward to is calm depths, and I have a feeling that if the SA calm depths run was Signature Plastics, it would have been like SA carbon compared to GMK carbon, right? Like where there's not a 310, there's a 300 though. The 300 is actually just an older version, and then there's the 400 or something like that. But everything after the 300 is like industrial type machine and kind of a lot of money, like $800 or $900 or something silly like that. I mean, as it stands, the 301 is like $270. I want to say on eBay. Sounds right. Probably the best prices you're gonna find. New inbox ones on eBay. I think I want to say if you buy it on Amazon, you're gonna spend probably like $300, maybe just over. That Amazon tax. I love Amazon, don't get me wrong. Use it all the time for all sorts of stuff. Not planning on turning my Prime membership in or anything. But there is a tax associated with that thing. Did that one desolder? It did? Okay. Oof, had me worried that there was pad lift there for a second. It's not. Just some kind of carbon. Flux residue. Currently on, yeah, Zombieman, GMK Hamon. I'm probably gonna jump in on that tomorrow, today, whatever. It's not, it's like on track or whatever. That's the worst that I experienced with Amazon, right? Like where it gets farmed out and then it's like delivered and you're like, but I'm home and it's not here, so you're a liar. Where they're like marking stuff. And I actually read some analysis of it that was like saying basically at some point Amazon's gonna have to give up the 2-day guarantee in places that aren't very urban, where they've got like, if nothing changes, which hopefully, you know, something will change to allow them to keep that thing. I'm trying to remember where it was, but it was like basically saying it's just they have too many actual failures to make that guarantee and not eventually run into like legal problems. Even if it's a shipping partner that's actually responsible for that thing. Should not be holding this like this, right? Because now it's not, there's nothing holding the top of the considerably heavy plate to the PCB. I don't want to rip these bottom pads. Then again, I'm not really concerned with treating this PCB terribly nice because I have extras, and like LBI Bass was saying, it's a Liku, and one day I'm gonna replace it, so does not look like it desoldered appropriately. It did. Sounds clogged. That's okay. I know where my desoldering iron poker thing is right now. Unlike when I kind of lost it there recently. At least I hope I do. I do. I probably shouldn't dump the solder right here. I just don't want to dump it directly in my trash can before it gets cool. What it needs, I think, coming up is a new filter, which I have some of, so it's not like undoable or anything. But, you know, I should put the thing in there. Guess I should look at all of these and see where we're pulling them off. You know, the funny thing is I have a customer board that has a very similar problem to this coming up, where in fact the next board that I build probably, where he has misaligned keycaps for the same reason. In fact, I think he has Holy Jesus on his. No, he has blacks, vintage blacks, I think. Ooh, so there's one. Actually, it just looks like the one. No, two. So let's see if that fixed it. Alright, well, we'll just try and pull them, and the ones that have come up, obviously that's the ones to fix, but being silly. Yeah, I just thinking about it. I do love Amazon. Amazon's amazing, but I don't know. They have their own issues for sure. Then again, who doesn't, right? Every business has its flaws, or its model has its flaws. I think Amazon's biggest flaw to me actually isn't anything to do with delivery. It's to do with treatment of workers, right? I mean, like, ultimately, a good company will care. Need those drone deliveries. Yup. No, I mean, like, that's the biggest problem I see with Amazon, is actually that they have this air, whether it's just public perception or not, of not caring about employees and stuff, and that's unfortunate, right? You really want any company to care about its employees, because ultimately, like, if you don't like it where you work, then you gotta leave. And they actively try to automate away jobs, which generally I'm not against, but in a lot of industries that I think a lot of people, like, that are into this hobby, including myself, are in, when I automate part of my job away, I just get different responsibilities. It's not like I lose a job over it, right? Whereas in logistics, if you automate a job away, a lot of times those people just don't have jobs anymore, and that's that. And maybe they were useless, and maybe we need, or maybe we need to go to a different model. But that stuff hasn't been ironed out yet, and Amazon is pushing that forefront, and it's kind of potentially quite harmful to that segment of the economy. The right answer isn't don't do anything, right? But if they're going to do it that way, they got to be really involved in figuring out what the economic shift is going to be, I think, because they're at the forefront, and that would be the responsible thing to do. Like, how do we structure this in a way that is beneficial to the economy and to the people versus harmful? Anyway, let's not get too political. We do need those drone deliveries, man. I guess that's political in its own right? But in our little part of the world, our little community, everybody's like, yeah, faster delivery. I mean, I am. Don't lose them, holy Jesus. I hate not fixed plates, man. What I should do is, when I take these measurements, in the process, also make a plate file for a fixed plate. I think that might be a good community service. I don't think Kin offers fixed plates for these at all, right? Does anybody know of that being the case? Of him offering one? I do not. That's irritating. Yeah, that one's going to require a desolder. A resolder and a desolder? You know what I mean, I think. Nope, that one's in it to win it. I think this one was stuck, and that one was for sure. Yeah. Okay, so 4 are stuck. That's not too bad. Get some solder on these. Suck the solder back out with all of its follow-on. We'll clean that up too in just 1 second. Ooh, why is that not setting? Where else are we at? And over here, right? It's really just this one, but we'll do both. Could be both. Oh no! Stab down. We'll fix that. That's easy. Yeah, it was okay. Anyway. Try not to stab my fingers. It lives. Yes, it does. All right, I'm gonna throw these in a baggie because what we don't need is a bunch of holy Jesus running away. And so, because eventually I'm going to rebuild this board with an H87A, I am going to, and I need to break these Zealios in V2s. I think what I'm going to do is actually not lube them. I mean, I don't think, I know I'm not going to lube them because, well, I want to avoid that. I want to break them in real good and real well and see what the difference is, right? So I'm gonna grab a couple alcohol wipes, clean that. Clean the plate off, measure it real quick, some of the dimensions, and then may clean the PCB too. I need to get big tech wipes here, which are super useful when you're doing this kind of thing, because there are actually blems on the brass coating on this, and actually I'm probably not treating it well because of the way it's sealed. Depends on how it's sealed. If it's got a urethane on it, it's fine, which it actually looks like it does. I think this alcohol won't mess it all up. Space bar, yes, you're right, it is. It could use a little bit of lube, and I have all the stuff right here to fix that up a little bit. And it is part of the plan. So what do you lube with, man? This 9? What do you typically do with all your projects? What do you lube with? I'm tempted to try the Rama method, right? I want to try it with the heat shrink tubing. I've never done that. All right. So before I get too far ahead of myself, let's just measure this thing real quick. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure. I'm going to measure the right control, right control to edge, right control to bottom, right, and then to edge is going to be rough, right? So I don't think I'm going to do right control to edge, right? So this is always going to be in the same position. This character. So I'm going to go from here to edge, tilde to edge, escape to top. I'm going to make sure that the distance from here to here and here to here is the same, and here to here and there to there is the same. But if it is, I'm just going to measure here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here, and that'll be it, I do believe. Have yet to lube switches, but stabs you usually use dielectric. Yeah, dielectric's okay. I think for the most part I use 3204 on just about everything. I have done 205 grade 0, which is nice. It's really good. I can't see an amazing difference between them. Honestly, I mean, on stabs at least. I mean, I guess 205 is probably better. I have tried the... What is it? I have tried... I'll pull it up. The Extreme Fluoro stuff. I have tried this on stabs, but for the most part, I think I like it on Co-Star style stabs. And then a mix of dielectric grease and that, or I mean, you could do it a lot of different ways, but the one thing that I don't like is super lube. I have a ton of it, but I would recommend not using this on stabs, or at least not anything that you like care about over the long term. Right, so anyway, without too much further interruption, I'm gonna do this before I forget, right? Okay, now let's make sure that it's all uniform edge to edge. And it's important, right, to do this. So if you look at this real quick, we're trying to measure from, I wonder if this will focus. So you see there's a notch right there. We actually want to measure from that inner part of the notch, not the outer, right? Because the Cherry MX switch actually rests against that. If you just drew a line between the edge of those two notches, the Cherry switch would be in there, and then you'd have a fixed plate. So we are going to do that. And on this plate, I've got 6.7, 6.68, although 6.65, 6.66, 6.69. All right, let's get this actually just what I would consider a perfect first time. Yep, 6.65. Okay, so this is 6.65 millimeters. And this is obviously more. Yeah, but anyway, this is where we care. I'll test the next switch down. 6.66. Yeah, so it's 6.65 millimeters to the edge. So, or to the left edge, right? So we'll do left escape, or left edge to escape. 6.65 millimeters. Right, and then we'll do this. Yeah, so these are both that. So we're going to try across the top. And then on the top, we're going to do the exact opposite. We're going to take that topmost bit, not the notch section. I know you can't even see this at all, but it's kind of hard to like do this accurately with one hand while holding this at an angle. $11.55 millimeters. 11.54. 11.54. 11.54. There we go, 11.5. And that looks lined up correctly. Okay. So the problem is that there's a slight radius in there. Yeah, it's 11.5. So there's a slight radius, obviously, in this portion. And especially, it's more exaggerated in the area that I'm measuring. Was I measuring it from the right place? Oh, I wasn't. Let's get that right. How about that? Yeah, how about we do that? All right, I got to do this off the edge because otherwise I'm not going to do it right. There's too much variance in the way I'm holding it. 10.25. Well, it's actually 10.27, but 10.26. 10.25. Yep, so 10.25 millimeters. 10.25 millimeters. So, whatever. I don't know why I put that the other direction, but whatever. I'll go back and make a spreadsheet. 10.25 millimeters. And then we're going to test it over here too, because it should be about the same. Like within 0.1 millimeters, hopefully. Oof, not. Oh, it is within 0.1. I meant within 100th, which it is not. So this says 10.36. 10.35. 10.36. 10.34. 10.3. Okay. We're going to go with 10.25 because it's actually fine. As long as these are collinear, if that's off by 1/10 of a millimeter, it's actually not going to be that big of a deal as it moves around. So 10.25. It'll just require a little bit of alignment. So I got 10.3 on that edge. So we're going to leave it at 10.25. It is very possible that when they cut this plate, they just cut it off plane somehow, or off axis very, very slightly. Depends on how it was made. It doesn't look like it was laser cut. It doesn't feel like it was laser cut. It feels like it was machined, like milled. Yeah, and that's really bad right there. So it's like when they machined it, they did it really poorly on some of these edges, like really poorly, or with either with bad feeds and speeds or with bad tooling. So I'm going to go with 10.25. Zeroed, okay. And then we're going to do 6.6. 6.6. Okay. Right edge to right nav, 6.60 millimeters. But let's try another switch. Not inches, millimeters. Okay. Sorry guys, can't show this very well because of camera angles. 6.65, 6.64, 6.65, 6.62. Okay, I'm gonna go with 6.60 again. So that's just correct. We've got the top, we've got the left. We're gonna get the bottom. Where did we get the bottom? Left edge, top edge. So we got the left edge, the top edge, the right edge. Now we're gonna get the bottom. Oh, 0. Zero it out again. Okay. Bottom. .64, 11.60. That's not actually what we want. We want this inner one anyway. 11.49. 11.47. 11.45. 11.45. Looks like about 11.45 or 10.45 rather. Did I say 11? Why would I have said that? Yeah, 10.45. Okay, 10.45 to bottom over here. Ooh, the bottom seems right. So when they squared this stock to make this, yeah, 10.45. So this is uniform from this edge to this edge. I didn't test in the middle. I could if I wanted to be super nitpicky about it. That's how I would do it. But bottom edge to bottom row, 10.45 millimeters. So it looks like they got this edge as a reference edge. They straightened it, they got it as a reference, and then they cut the rest to match roughly because even this plate moves around a little bit in the case. And I know that, I can see it. So let's just make sure we did this top part right, double check. Because I think when I did the top row, top edge 10.25, yeah, that's right. We can test in the middle and get a rough approximation. That bulges a little bit, actually. .4. That's weird. Getting 10.35. Did I just measure before? No, there it goes. 10.25. Okay. Measure it again just to be safe. Right. Left edge. To escape 6.65. Let's see what we get. I'm getting 6.55 up there. That's not what I want to measure. Some of these are a little off, actually. So the lowest dimension I'm getting here is actually 6.50. So I'm going to go with 6.50, right? Because if I reduce this edge the most, this will be just a little bit looser, but it will fit correct. So 6.50, I guess, is what we're going with. But they are close. I mean, it's a pretty low error, honestly. Like the switches might just fit a little tighter if we didn't. It's not terribly bad. So I did top a second time, did left, I did bot a bunch, and it looked consistently good. So let's do right one more time. 6.65, no. 6.6. Tested across the entire length. So one of these actually shows up as 6.5. I mean, we could make that universal. You know what? I think when I do this, I'm going to have it cut out of wood. I'm going to do 6.5. But man, that's crazy. That's a big difference. I could do 5.5 and then have it just fit tight. I think what I'm going to do is have it cut looser. Test them out of wood or paper even first, then wood, then have it just made out of something like this once I think I got it dialed. Unfortunately, that's the problem with reverse engineering, right? You gotta kind of trial and error it. So that's gonna be what this is right now. And I'm pretty comfortable with that. Because the rest of this, we know the dimensions. And we know that those dimensions are roughly right because of this, right? This is standard. So, all right. So, and just to kind of show you guys, there's a little bit more dimensioning I need to take off of this thing, but they're not, they don't need to be done with the plate not on because they're just from the edge dimensions. Like I can take just where the holes are and I can be roughly off, right? So if you look at it, it does move around. It's not perfectly tight in there. Anyway, let's get this thing back together with some Zealios in it, and then we'll be done. I think that's the way to do it. I mean, it's going to take a little while, but you know. Got a couple different bags of Zealio V2, 78 grams. That's what I'm going with. I'm sure some of you guys are like, oof, 78 grams. Why would you do 78 grams? So, 70. 84, right? So, 74. Okay, 84. All right. Yep, okay. Okay. Yeah, and some of these are a little loose, so I have a feeling that we are okay where we're at. Maybe. Let's just get that corner. Oh yeah, we're gonna touch the lube on these guys, right? Fix the lube, or add a little bit. Let's get some 3204, a little paintbrushy action. Box it up there. Suppose I could choose something a little different. So why did my music stop again? All right, you know what? We're gonna do something a little different. We are gonna do this. I don't know, these weren't loud stabs to begin with. They were very quiet. Since we're here, never really lube stabilizers this way. You can always lube them before they're I mean, these were lubed before. Like I said, they were pretty quiet, so. That's gonna be a little, maybe even sluggish for a minute. Probably not, actually. Alright, so I'm actually good with all that. It's fine, because they were so quiet before. They were like perfect. You didn't miss a ton, man. Actually, what I was doing is I measured the plate all up. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah, I added some lube to them. I didn't go crazy. I didn't do a lot. They were actually, despite whether you thought they looked great here, they were previously lubed, and they actually were dead quiet. So there wasn't rattle, but I did add some, just because, well, you were talking about it and I was looking at it and I was like, yeah, it does kind of look like some settled or moved away, or I don't know how that happens. I mean, I used at least 3204 before. I might have used 205 grade 0 on this. I don't know for sure. So I don't know about settling, but you know. Anyway, yeah, I was kind of just like, yeah, so I just measured it, cleaned some stuff up a little bit, looked at it. In fact, what I'm going to do right now is clean a little bit of this up anyway, just because it grosses me out when there's this much flux residue around these pads. No. You know how that goes? Gotta get them clean, man, or cleanish at least. What I really need to do is invest in good tech wipes, and I'm gonna buy some. I've been meaning to. I just keep forgetting. so that I can use a paintbrush on top of it to just like really scrub away on customer builds, because like I'm good about them and I'll wipe them down to some extent, but I really want my customer stuff to look perfect if I can, and I think that's the right way. I know that's the right way. I mean, I have at one point in my life done like daily routine professional soldering work before, so see that? Some flux residue. Gross, huh? Yeah, no, I have some tech grade alcohol, although that's not normally what I use in here. I do have some, but that's definitely not what these pads are. These are like medical grade, and they're probably like 70%. Yeah, super low for this, although they'll work for right now. I do have cotton. Actually, I don't want to use cotton balls because they leave cotton like fibers come off of, and I already stole hers by the way, but they leave cotton residue off of the SMD components that kind of snag them a little bit. So I kind of try not to use cotton for this, like actual cotton balls anyway. I mean, they do that for me every time I do it. I'm not a big fan of it. And the reality is, like, I know that. So the right way to do it, right? Like after you've soldered and all those pins are there, is to take like your fibrous paper, right, and set it down and use like a brush and just like kind of soak the crap out of the cloth that's on top of it, of the pins and everything, and it'll kind of pull a lot of this crud off. And that's how I've done it in the past when I worked at places where we did this thing routinely. Like right out of high school, I had a job building high-end audio amplifiers, like tube amplifiers that were handmade, obviously. And that's what we do. They were pretty nice. And if you're an audiophile, I mean, you'd kind of know. I'm not. Like, it never was a thing that I was like, oh yeah, I can totally tell the difference. I mean, there are people that can, and I believe that they actually can. They're not just snobby about it. But I'm not one of them. That's crazy. That was like some of the thickest flux residue on that thing, on that one that I've ever seen. Yeah, I need 99% to do this on these. That's in the garage. I'm not gonna go get it. I'm almost done. I'm done enough. And the reality is I'm gonna desolder this again sometime soon, so I'm not actually even gonna do it again after. One, it just takes a lot of time, and two, I'm gonna pull it apart. Yeah, man. I'm not saying that I don't appreciate good audio. I'm talking like, I mean, when I say high-end audio amplifier, I mean like the mono amps, the monoblock amplifiers, And this is, mind you, this is like 2002 or 3 time frame, maybe. We were making those and they were $6,000 for mono channel, so you needed 2 of them. And the speakers that we would drive would be like Sound Lab speakers, like really nice, really high end studio monitors and stuff like that. Or headphones exclusively, right? Good studio headphones. And I mean, I could tell the difference between gamer quality headset and like good high quality ones. I have a set of Biodynamics over there. These are gamer, but they're these are Astro A50s, right? And they're like the best gamer headset I think I've ever heard. I say that knowing full well that Biodynamic makes some like headsets that are actually pretty high quality. They're not marketed to gamers at all, and they're a lot more money. But these are the nicest gamer style ones with a boom mic anyway, with a mic like this that I would ever use for sure. Anyway, good enough for getting them soldered back up. But yeah, man, there is a huge difference between good headphones and and whatever junk, right? Whatever junk they sell to gamers, which is literally that. It is junk. I think we know that. I think a lot of people in our little niche market know that too, right? Like, you see a lot of people with like a lot of people who stream at least with like decent external audio controllers. So like, I have to believe that. I have to believe that there's a fair number of people that like good quality audio. Totally soldering with my wrong hand, by the way. I'm lefty. Keep eyeing Sennheisers. What do they have on there right now? Actually, I haven't been paying attention to that segment that close on Mass Drop. Like what model? Sennheiser makes some good stuff, man. Like they're a great in their realm. They're pretty fantastic. Honestly, in the segment of the market that they service, I appreciate them and probably AKG the most. That's probably my like go-to Sennheiser 600s. Okay, yeah, those are good headphones. How $199? It's not bad. I don't know. I wonder how good the deal on something like that is through Mass Drop comparatively. I mean, I know what Mass Drop will say the kind of deal you're getting is like, but I wonder what you actually find it for out there on the open market, because like off the top of my head I don't know what Sennheiser 600 series headphones cost. Right, I gotta wonder what they go for on the open market. Yeah, I'll turn a fan on in a sec. I'm just, $50 is a good deal. Like if you're in, the way I feel about a lot of mass drop, not mass drop made stuff, like the stuff that they just sell, is like if you're already in the market for that thing or something like it, they usually have good deals, right? Like okay, so now I'm gonna start putting bulk switches in because we got all the corners tacked down. Not all the corners. Oh, ish. Nope, we do not. In fact, get one or two in the center before we go all crazy. Get a couple tacked down in some other strategic locations. All right, where were we? Where were we centered with this space? Always got to think about it. Oh, easy peasy, man. Gotta think about which one is the 7U. I guess I always gotta think about this too. I'm gonna use the Alt GR, guys. I know I was in the wrong location before. It's okay though. Don't get mad. Don't be mad, bruh. Fairly certain it's right here. Could literally be the only place that it plugs in, so we'll go with yes. Okay. Split spacebar. Who is it that just built a? Nathan Kim just built a keyboard with a split spacebar, right? I wonder what his thoughts were on it. Probably like WTF. Why would people do this? I don't know. Curious. I personally do not see a ton of desire in my mind for that thing. But to each their own, right? To each their own. No, that's not right. That's right. Control. Just making sure I got it right, man. Gotta make sure it's in the right location. What's the easiest way to tell, right? Just put the actual keycap there. No, it's actually labeled on the back. I'm just being dumb. Yeah, I don't know. So on the Alice, right? Like, it's cool. On the Alice, it's totally cool. But on the Alice, it's an ergo split anyway, and it's unique, and it's the Alice. I mean, it's not just whatevs board. Not that a TGR 910 is whatevs, right? That's what he did it on, I think, and it was fucking gorgeous. But on a standard type layout board, I don't know if I'm all about it. So I have a Xtronic 3020, and it has auto shut off, and it's like the most annoying feature in the world for somebody like me who's doing board builds. Like, I hate it a lot. This has got to be like the best tack down fucking board ever. For a full solder, like I already soldered like half of it together. Wait, brain blanked. What was I talking about? They made your brain blank. Feels bad, man. I'm not trying to make somebody's brain go all haywire. I mean, I want you guys to relax, but... Alright. Now let's get all the switches in there. You don't know, you blanked. Yeah, that makes sense, man. Sorry, I cannot recall exactly. Turns out I'm half paying attention to this thing too. So my brain wasn't blank, but at the same time, probably could have paid more attention myself. It's okay, that happens from time to time. But I do know that I'm really looking forward to these Zealio V2s. Like, I've put them in, like, I've put, not these ones, but some others in a hot swap board, and I really liked them, but I hate hot swap boards, and they're all loose and stuff. So I'm both happy. I'm happy in 3 ways. 1, that I got the measurements for this thing, finally. 2, that I'm going to finally be using these, or some Zealios V2s in something awesome. Oof, Ethereum, dude. What is the Ethereum price at? Is it any good right now? I have a coworker who invested in some mining equipment a while back. I do not know if it worked out well for him or not. I hope that it did, but I believe that it probably did not, based on the time that he got in. Yeah, the 67. So I normally would refuse to lube just switches without a build, but I took a lube job order on some Zealio V2 62 grams. Oh no, it dropped. Shoot, dude. Feels bad. I hope that, oh wait. Oh, you missed buying. Feels even worse. Now you can't get in. Yeah, so I took a job to lube some Zealio's V2, or V2 62 grams. And I was surprised. I'm normally a heavy switch kind of fan. And so these 67 grams, or these 78 grams right here, they feel great to me. But as I've been typing on Holy Jesus sometimes, I'm realizing that maybe I'm not as diehard heavy switch as I was before. That being said, I still am a big fan of like Alps Browns, right? Which are heavy tactile monsters. Anyway. The 62s felt great, and once I lubed them, oof. Then I wish that I had lubed some of these at the same time. Yeah, you could just grab some springs. I'm fairly certain that they're exactly the same, otherwise minus the color. Which, who cares about color? It's pigment. I do recommend them. I really like Zealios. I actually like everything that I've tried that Zeal's made all along. His stuff is expensive, but I got some respect for the fact that he seems to legitimately have decent product lines as they come out. I'm not a fan particularly of linear switches, so I don't love the Telios that are in that TX84 V2. And I have a bunch of V2 Telios, and I'm kind of bummed because I actually got them to make Zealio style V2s, as I found that the V2 housings are way better audibly than the V1 housings. So I wanted to convert all of my Zealio style V1s into V2s. And then the Telios do not work as well, so I'm like, should I sell them? Should I build a board with them? I don't know. Not a giant fan of them. But I guess I'll find something to do with them. Or maybe one day my taste will change a little bit and I'll like linears more. And then I'll be in love with them. It wouldn't be the first time. So for anybody that watches this, right, that wants to talk about or wants to do something like measure a board for Alps, what I need you guys to know is when I took those external measurements, right, it's important to note that we know that the switch positioning of an H87 board, which this isn't an H87A, but like Heine's board, right? It's in what most Korean customs use is defined. So any plate file you have that will work for a board of this layout, an 87 key that supports 15157, 1515 bottom row, right in this case, or whatever bottom row you want, we know that for the appropriate board, all we need is those external dimensions and stabilizer positions. Now, stabilizer positions are standardized for this thing too, so I'm not worried about measuring those, right? What I'm really exclusively worried about is that external dimension. So I'm going to take, what I'm planning on doing is taking another plate file that I have for other boards that follow the same switch layout configuration, and then just making the external dimensions match this. And so like this corner right here, I'm just gonna notch a couple millimeters in from each side so that the corner isn't supported the same way, simply because it doesn't provide significant structural rigidity that the sides don't. And well, honestly, I don't want to worry about or figure out that radius. Once I'm done with this, right, and I'm done with this board build on this, I'm actually just going to measure the position of those, the relative position, and I'm going to create tiny little notches for where the screws go to, because it's a sandwich mount plate. So the top is what's actually pulling the entire edge down. So again, those tiny little notches that I create, not going to be a big deal. And then that way, there will be, I'm going to make a fixed plate also, a fixed MX plate also, file. And I'll try probably the MX because it'll be easier for me to deal with. And I have a bunch of, I have 3 Liku boards that are all pretty much trash to me that I could solder and desolder and play with and make sure they all fit right and everything lines up before I release a file, right? But once I have that exact thing laid out, that exact layout done, like, my intent is to also take some other plate files that I have or plates that I have and do the same exact thing, unless customs manufacturers are willing to release the plate file for theirs. Like, in which case I'm not going to reinvent the wheel, right? So it's a bummer that I have to go do that thing, but as a result of me having to do that work, I will absolutely share, because I want people to have whatever plates they want. The next step would be to take, I think, something like Swill's tool, but apply that outside logic to it. So I don't know if I'd have to write my own or if it could be imported into his, or what we do. Did I pull 1, 2 few switch? Okay. Okay. Apparently I can't count, guys. Apparently I can't count. So this is ever so slightly curved, which is ridiculous. All of the, so it's the plate that's curved a little bit. I don't remember noticing that, but all the switches are actually seated all the way, or all the ones I'm looking at. I can see that the stem bottoms come all the way flush with the board. Okay. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. So anyway, I'm gonna make that file, and I want an Alps TX84. I love this board. I'll probably buy a different one to do it. Maybe I'll do this one. I don't know. Guess it depends on how much I like Zealios in it. This feels good. Anyway. Okay. Don't go into sleep mode, silly soldering iron. No, what we're gonna do now, I guess let me know if this gets stupid loud. Oh no, that's gonna be way loud. Did I? Okay, I didn't. Cool. That's bottom row. That's why derp. I almost derped. I did derp. Almost made a complete fool of myself. Yeah, I'm using a fan to blow the smoke as opposed to filter it and suck it in. Guess I'm living life on the edge. I need to get a good solder sucker. Putting your tongue on it. Yeah. HEPA filter or riot, huh? Thanks for being so concerned with my health. I do appreciate it. I do. So those solder, yeah, right. So those solder filter fans or whatever, I've had them before. I do not actually have one right now. I mean, I have access to one, but those aren't HEPA anyway. It's just an activated charcoal filter. And yeah, it filters. It probably captures some of the lead smoke, but I'm gonna have to be really honest here. There are times when I'm in environments that have way more lead vapor content than this room will when I'm done soldering this whole board together. I'm not saying it's a good reason to expose yourself to more. I'm just saying that this is the least of my actual concerns as it is related to environmental toxins, lead specifically. I actually had a customer comment once on it when he watched the video. Because sometimes and I just desoldered his. Anyway, sometimes I video things that I do not stream for customers. If I think it's something that's like wholly unentertaining, like desoldering somebody's board. It's not that it's wholly unentertaining. There's value to it educationally, but it's not like, it's not exciting, right? It's no TGR Alice or even TX84. Yeah, you're right. You're right, it does not. It is the flux. But lead does absolutely vaporize at some things, at some temps that I then get exposed to it at. I try to be in a really well ventilated area sometimes when I do stuff like that, but like if you go shoot in an indoor gun range, for instance, there is absolutely lead vapors, not just gunpowder smoke. Depending on what you're shooting. Usually pistols doesn't get hot enough to vaporize probably. But if you're shooting rifles, probably. One example. Whatever. Lead is not good for you. Absolutely. Try and avoid it when you can. This fan does a pretty good job at keeping like this flux based smoke directly out of my nostrils by blowing it around. Honestly, my biggest resistance to it, to the solder sucking, or the smoke imbibing and activated charcoal filter or whatever kind, is that there aren't really good ones, and that aren't really expensive, that I'm interested in. I guess I'm not finding the one for me, and so I'm resistant to just buying something whatever. Like, I don't do enough of this. It's not an all day every day kind of thing. I'm like, you know what, I can take my time and find the one I want. Ooh, I didn't do this whole row. Why did I skip a bunch of that? This playlist, I don't know, I haven't been digging the whole thing, although it's okay. I really like this song, it sounds good. Oh man, I feel you. For a couple years I was doing some competitive pistol, and I was going through about 9,000 rounds a year for like 3 years. And I have a Dillon XL650, so I was doing a crap ton of reloading too. So I feel you, man. The money is real, and I was doing competitive, so I was shooting 165 grain or 158 grain slugs. So like, expensive, right? Because more lead instead of 115 grain. For anybody else that doesn't know that out there. That's actually that's what I've done Cerakoting for before, actually. Is for some firearms. My build service, I mentioned on my build service post that I'm interested in setting up my equipment to do Cerakoting again. However, I'm not currently necessarily taking orders. If somebody had a project that was enticing enough, or even maybe not enticing enough, because I don't want to take on something super complex for my first one, like back in it anyway. But like, I'm trying to find a good reason to want to get back into it, and some of my own boards are eventually going to drive me there, right? I mean, there are things that I'm just like, I don't know, this would be better in Cerakote. I'll actually give this board as an example. I'm not planning on removing its white powder coat until it has problems, but the powder coat is just not as durable for the types of applications we're using it for. For the types of wear profile we put on it, right? We're putting low wear continuous on it with occasional nicks and bumps that are heavy surface loading. And that's where the powder coat won't do well. There's occasional nicks and bumps. It actually performs amazingly for that repeated wear condition. Man, sleep mode. I'm just gonna reflow these couple joints. They look like they flowed just fine. So I make fun of this Xtronic, but actually it's a really great iron otherwise. Except for that sleep mode. One day, nah, not one day, I'll just buy a different iron. But if I wanted to save a buck, one day I would take the soldering iron apart and use a cheaper, crappier one to remove this sleep function. I'm guessing that the circuitry for that is fairly straightforward. So what I'm going to do is pull up some switch hitter. Make sure we got everything. Oh, Oh, ruh-roh, LEDs. Sweet. Looks good to me. On the tongue. Yeah, man. One day. Not ever. Not ever. Time for some piano music. You want piano music? Is that what we want? Okay, I'll put piano music on. I believe that I have something for you. At least I saw something kind of recently. Nope, that's not where I was looking. Okay. You ready? Are you ready? Oh, yeah. Well, now you're listening to piano music. Careful what you ask for. No, I'm just messing with you. Okay. If you want me to go back, I will, by the way. I literally have no problem with piano music or dance music, although I won't leave it on piano music forever. Then again, we're almost done. Hey, how's it going? You mean like with a Pro Micro? I mean, this has a microcontroller on it. I think you mean a Pro Micro, right? I'm guessing. Please clarify. I guess here's the thing. I'll work on every kind of keyboard. I'm interested in trying to take apart, fix, rebuild, make them better, faster, stronger, etc. Every kind of keyboard. Sure, Phantom board, I guess. Why not? Why not a Phantom board? Come on, seat. Why does it? Trying to seat that screw in there. Doesn't want to. There it goes. Soldering heaven. Yeah, right? If you want to solder all of the things, you could do a Phantom. Or if you want loose, sloppy, and no solder, then you find something hot swap. Oh. Trying to gather enough data to build a board, and a microcontroller spec doc seems to miss one important part of how to persist configuration. Ooh. Okay, so I think you're getting a little bit into the design versus building. However, I'm gonna guess that there's a couple of different ways to do it, right? You either flash the firmware altogether onto it, which is what happens on boards like this one. Or if you're using a programmable microcontroller and you're going to be programming it through the keyboard itself or something like that, then there's going to be some kind of non-volatile memory on board for that purpose. Like I said, in the case of this board and boards like this that use this kind of PCB, or similar, you're going to find that you're flashing the firmware. So a good place to look, chip has I2C command, but don't want to reprogram the chip on every power down. Sure. So Pro Micros, right? That's I think where people are doing it. Arduino Pro Micro. I think they're Arduino Pro Micro, I'm guessing. That's what they're doing. And usually those just have like toggles. I think they are flashing the firmware and then toggling one way or the other, right? Okay, so let's get this on here. On this switch hitter, just so we don't let's get that right side up. This is interesting. Yeah, I don't know, man. I believe that that's what you're looking for. Pro Micros, I think, are the way that people do that thing pretty exclusively. If that's what you're after. But like I said, is that right? I think about that for a second. The bracket is on the bottom, right? Yeah, derp. Is it standalone? Oh, yours. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, as far as building, ooh, sticky keys is potentially on. Okay, that's gross. This is not my main system. This is the one over there. Is my main system. So Alt GR. I believe that's what you wanted, right? Control. Yeah, these keys. Oh yeah, man. These are Zealios. Zealio V2. These are 78 gram Zealios. So feel free to look those up if you're interested. I highly recommend them. They're pretty nice. Yeah, man. They're some of the best. 9? Yeah, 9. Some of the best money can really buy, and they are expensive for switches, for newer switches anyway. Wait till you hear it when they're all put together. And you can hear it without the music when I turn that off. Like that. Love that. Yes, Zealios. Oh my god. I mean, it's not that special in this community, right? Like Zealios are super common, but they are special. It turns out they are special. No matter what way you cut it, they're pretty good. Now, a lot of people think they're kind of overpriced, or they're, I don't know, people think they're not perfect in a lot of ways, but no one ever claimed they were perfect. They're just good. I even appreciate good things that I wouldn't buy for whatever reason. Because there's no reason to hate good things. That being said, I did buy, and would buy again, Zealios. Will buy again. It's like a for sure thing. I'm guessing a bunch of you guys will too. Oh no. Her. Don't do that. Sometimes it's weird, like, even though I know where the switches are supposed to go, when I'm putting them on, I have to, like, think about where my fingers go to hit it, because I'm so used to, you know, doing all of this by feel. It's, like, subconscious a lot of the time, right? Even though I know R is directly next to T, my brain is still like, you know how you confirm? Okay, I didn't think our music was going to go here today, but it is. It is here, and it's good. Is this a Z or an N? wasn't in. I'm sorry, I thought that was funny. I was like, wait, what? All right. Feels good, right? All right, let's examine for a second the spacing on these. So maybe the keycaps are just misaligned themselves, because these things are centered and they have centering pins in them, and they still aren't perfect. They aren't as bad as they were. I'm gonna chalk this up to keycaps themselves. I mean, I guess I could pull them apart, but I'm fairly certain it's just not going to get better with these. In any event, I got done the other really important thing that I needed to get done. It isn't as bad, by the way. But we're going to go over to the other station. I'm going to move that TX1800, put this in its place, and we'll be looking at it. I'm going to pause this music too, right? Because what we need is to hear. Oof, the speed test. All right. This is not going to be great. This is not my strongest. This is not my strongest feature. Do you know that, right? Let me find my scene that has. Hold on one second. Ten fast fingers. All right, hold on. So what I need to do is this, right? I normally do this on that other rig. All right, guys. So are we ready? I'm not going to be that fast, but I will try. Just for you, I will try. No, I try anyway. You broke 80 today? Nice, dude. I think probably about the fastest you would see me to do right now, tonight. I'm pretty tired. Maybe 70. Even then, I think I might be optimistic right now. We'll see. We'll see. How about that? We'll see. Oh my God. this is bad. That was... Blah. That was terrible. Terrible, guys. Terrible. Let's give it one more shot. I've been typing pretty much all day, so my hands are pretty fatigued, but I'll try one more time. Dude, Nathan... I watch Nathan do that, and it makes me cringe. Like, not like, oh my god, but like, I can't imagine my tendons flexing my fingers that fast. It's bananas. I'm a solid like 60, 65 most of the time. I can like burst to 80 for like 70, 75 for a minute, I guess. But $69. There you go. Not terrible for me. Not terrible for me. But Nathan literally over twice as fast as that. So yeah, I'm not planning on beating him anytime soon. Not planning on beating him anytime soon. Yeah, so I think I'm pretty close to done. There's only like a couple of you guys actually watching right now, but if you got any questions or you want to talk about anything or figure out any builds that are coming up or pretty much anything, feel free to ask. I'll be around for a few more minutes. Now I need to start using this board, right? I mean, I need to start actually functionally using this to ensure that I break these switches in. Because at some point, it's coming apart again. At some point. Wait, are you talking about the hamon? Are you talking about, do you hit the hamon up? Because, man, I'm like, I wanna, but I don't wanna. I don't know. All right, you know what? I'll open that screen share thing back up. Let's look, right? Let's look at hamon. So let's look at it for a second. All right. So this is what we got, right? Hamon. So mechanical keyboards, mech keys, hamon. Tell me why you kind of don't, right? I mean, we got a day left to choose, right? And if I look at the numbers, I see 629 orders. It's very unlikely to hit 1,000, right? So it's gonna be $100 for the base kit. So my question to you is, are you a base kit kind of guy? Is that all you're gonna get in for, right? Because it's hard not to go with the Hamonolites and the Pata Negra, right? I mean, like really. I mean, I'm tempted to do like core, numpad, space-bars, Hamonolites, Pata Negra, and 2 Enye survivals, but that's like $250, right? I'm not gonna spend that. It's nice. But the dual Enye survivals is really just so you can like fill a board with Enyes. It's like a meme board, right? I mean, So I'm not going to do that. The Pata Negra. Let's look at that. I don't know, man. It's really cool, but arguably the accents that come with Haemonolites and even just the regular ones look, I think, better with it. Probably going base and Haemonolites. Okay, see now that I can kind of jump behind. I'm very likely, I don't want to say very likely, but pretty likely to want to do Spacebars too. Although it's just white Spacebars, and then you get the 275 and the 2.25, right? So for me, this would be if I'm going to get an Alice. I'm going to make it red, get a red Alice, and I want that right there. But you could order just something similar to these if you weren't using the other white keys. And it would look close enough. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd probably do exactly what you're talking about, and then space bars and numpad. After my reaction to split spacebar. Okay, so my exception to thinking that the split spacebar is ridiculous is on Ergo keyboards, which generally speaking I'm not into, but the Alice I am. I did an Alice for my last build video, and you can just go watch that video if you want, and I did think it was pretty cool. I did. That's my exception, right? And I just put a white on black set on it that is mine, and it was silver, and it looked fantastic. Fantastic. In fact, if I go to, I have a picture of it somewhere. Hold on. Let me find a picture of it. Let me go to pictures, cubes. Right? That customer build was awesome. I really liked the board. I never really thought I'd like it as much as that, but just with white on black on it, it's amazing. With that two-tone, with this red and those two white space bars, oof. Oof, clean. Clean. That would look nice if it was a red board. Anyway, here, I'll get off this. But that's the thing you're looking at, right? 100 plus the Haemonolites, 40. You're looking at 140 bucks plus tax and shipping on there. So call it 150, 155, somewhere in that range. It's kind of a lot, right? I don't know. I guess it's not a lot for a GMK set, but I don't know. I'm on the fence too. I think I'm probably going to jump in on at least the core set. All right. Anyway. Thank you guys for joining me, and thanks for coming and checking out this build. This is not the most exciting build I've done, but it served a purpose. And actually, they still don't look good. I have a feeling these caps are just a little warped. I'm gonna throw a GMK set on there and look at it. See, it must just be these cheaper caps. Too bad too, because they look beautiful. Grab the white on black. Yeah. White on black is classic, man. It just goes with everything, right? Like it's never gonna look out of place, really. Never, not ever. What I think Haemonolites would look good on is actually this board. Or not Haemonolites, Hamon. But I'm like on the fence about leaving this red here or refinishing it somehow, either having it Cerakoted or custom anode. If I do Cerakote, I'm almost certainly gonna take it somewhere else and not do it on my own, and have it have something not just a standard color, have it like actually painted in pattern or stenciled or something, or Spartan worn or something. Anyway. All right, man. I think that I am out of here, guys, and I appreciate all of you guys watching, all of you guys taking the time to enjoy this awesome build with me. All right. Until next week. Next week is gonna be, for anybody who cares, an E6 V2. And the customer actually has a similar problem to what I had on this, although his are very unlikely to be caps that are out of place. He has, the E6 V2 does not have a fixed plate either, and it does in fact have, he has on it vintage blacks. So very likely his are just wonky. And I'll try to straighten his out if they look a little tweaked, and I can, unlike what I just did here. Although I'll probably try and straighten these out too, just because it's here. But yeah, take it easy. Bye, guys.